In this video, we'll talk about water quantity requirements. What are they? There is not a straightforward and universal answer. It really depends on the context. In order to assess what the water needs are, we need to answer the following questions. What water is needed for? How much is needed? And how do we have access to it? Obviously, life without water is not possible. It is crucial to ensure health benefits. Adequate quantity of water can also be crucial to ensure livelihood, such as in the picture taken in Darfur in Sudan here, where this water point is also crucial to water to cattle. Availability of water is also vital for some cultural and religious practices. The list of water uses can be very long, and competition of water between these different uses and users exists. It should be taken into account in the assessment of water needs. If we focus on public health aspect, water is needed for drinking, cooking, washing clothes, cleaning building, waste disposal, such as sanitation, and personal washing. The amount of water needed for these different uses greatly varies depending on many factors, such as the local habits, climate, or sanitation technology used. For instance, for the toilets. In some contexts, you flush your waste and you need a high amount of water. And in another context, you don't need water because you just do it above the pit. In humanitarian assistance, most organizations agree upon a minimum standard that are contained in this book, called the SPHERE Project. It also contains other standards for other core humanitarian activities. This book is free on internet, so don't hesitate, go, read it, check it, is extremely important. According to the SPHERE Project standards, in humanitarian assistance, at least 15 liters per day per person is required for basic survival water needs. It includes 3 liters per day per person for drinking, 6 liters per day per person for basic hygiene practices, and 6 liters per day per person for cooking. But be careful, these figures should be considered as a minimum standard for survival, and that is during a very acute emergency generally, and not as a satisfactory situation. Indeed, priority should be given to quantity while respecting quality in order to tackle water-washed diseases that are due to the lack of water for hygiene purposes. If you look at the figures from the WHO, you see that with 20 liters per day per person, you should assure drinking and cooking needs and the very basic hygiene needs. However, it will be very difficult to ensure laundry and bathing and other hygiene needs. As such, the level of health concerns remain high, and that due to the risk of spread of infectious diseases. In order to lower this risk to less concerning levels, at least 50 liters per day per person would be needed according to the WHO. Providing adequate quantity of water at a water point does not guarantee that people will have access to it. As part of the assessment of water needs, we have also to look at the various obstacles to this access. Is it safe to access to it? Can we access freely at any time? Does everyone have access to it, especially the most vulnerable? Is the water point accessible to everyone? For instance, does a disabled person can access to it? Is it affordable for the poorest? Finally, time to get to the water point is also very important. As a matter of fact, time to collect water will depend on the time to get on the water point, which mainly depends on the distance, the time to wait at the water point, which can be very long, especially when there is not enough water points and people have to queue, the time to fill the container, which depends on the flow at the tap, and finally the time to go back home. As shown in this graph, as a consumer, if you have directly access to multiple taps at home, you should not have to wait to get access to water. Then you should actually get access to a very large quantity of water. If water is delivered very close to your house, usually less than 100 meters, and that you don't have to wait more than 5 minutes to collect water, it is estimated that you should be able to get access up to 50 liters per day. However, if you have to walk between, let's say, 100 and 1 kilometer to the water point, or it takes you between 5 to 30 minutes, it is unlikely that you will get access to more than 20 liters per day. Then the longer the time, the less the quantity of water you get. Let's summarize this video on water quantity requirements. We have seen that different populations have different uses for water and priorities regarding allocation of water uses. Therefore, the needs and demand should be taken into account to define the quantity that is vital. 15 liters per day per person is a minimum standard agreed by most humanitarian organizations for survival. But we have seen that is not sufficient to stop the transmission of diseases. Therefore, in order to achieve a significant health benefit, an increase of water availability is required. And finally, we have seen that access constraints should not be overlooked. It will affect the quantity of water that can be consumed.